Welcome to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. Today, I have with me Margaret Green.
Hello. How you doing?
Um, Ramon will be in shortly, and so will Ursula. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I have not seen our guest yet, so I guess I just won't say it yet until she get into the show. Then I'll mention her. Okay. All right. So, Margaret Green, what do you have for us today?
I just have a little something about real estate, and it's basically nothing about purchasing, but it is about those who may be considering the career of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best form of action in preparing yourself in that field is to maybe shadow someone
Mm-hmm.
and or mentor get a mentor that you can see how it goes, how they do it, and because it's not a easy profession to go
Mm-hmm.
into it, even though yeah, you do have some free time of your own. You're not tethered to a desk all the time, but you do have to be prepared and be able to um, communicate to your sellers and your buyers and your clients where they can understand exactly what you know about the market itself, about what they need and what you can provide.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where because in real estate as an agent, you actually are the go-to person for from the beginning to the end of that process, from ratifying that contract to scheduling that inspection, to scheduling appraisals, to scheduling to getting the contacting the attorney, whoever the person who have chosen for their closing attorney. There's a lot of layers in this profession that some people don't understand and don't realize. It's not all about just making a decent living, because you got to keep in mind a contract can fall apart on closing day.
Mm-hmm.
So every day, so every the process can be rewarding, but it also can be frustrating at times. So the best thing I can tell you to do is, if you decide that you want to get into that profession, is to get have you a job that you're already doing until you get to the point where you don't need to where you can walk away and do that full time, because you want to be able to have the expenses to maintain, to cover your household, but also cover the expenses that comes with being a real estate agent. And that's my gold nugget for today.
Oh, good, very good information. Very good information. So, as you know, they're still talking about the Chris Rock thing. It's like, oh my goodness, when is this gonna die down? I mean, it's just
Yeah,
they
I
even
think it's
showed the
more shocking
video,
than anything.
right?
That's
They
what it
even
is.
showed the video of what's her name? Jada. They showing a side view of what how she reacted when he first walked
Hmm.
up, that she was laughing. I guess
Hmm.
she wasn't expecting what happened either. What was, what Will was going up there to do. I guess she wasn't expecting it either. It looked like she was kind of in shock too. So yeah, it's crazy. That whole little thing is really
Yeah.
crazy.
A lot of people feel that she should have grabbed him to because she should have known that he was going to do something, because she knew that it wasn't time for him to receive his reward. So what was the reason for him going up on the stage?
Yeah.
So they feel that, when you married, you really can tell when your husband is going to do something.
You'll
You
make,
just
yeah.
you just you know, and you like, so they feel that she should have been able to say, honey, this ain't the time, nor is this the place.
Yeah.
We can just talk to him about it later or something. And that's the other thing. Have they ever went to Chris Rock? Every time that he make fun of them or makes comments, have they ever went to them and said, you know what, I really appreciate it if you stop making us the butt of your jokes? Because I think if they never mentioned that to him, if they never said anything to it, I guess he may have thought that it was okay. You know,
Yeah.
because if you tell somebody that you find something that they're saying offensive, sooner or
Hmm.
later they're gonna get it. And then if you because you're giving them a warning, Okay,
Right.
this is what I don't want you to do because I found it offensive to my wife. My wife found it offensive to her. So we'll don't make us the butt of your jokes no more.
Right.
And then if he didn't listen, then you react. But I don't think if he never mentioned that to them, if they never mentioned that to him, then it's like I think they can be considered as just as guilty as he is because
Hmm.
you're gonna let somebody know, hey, don't do that no more.
Right.
You
They
know.
had a serious car crash in Deerfield today. That's part of Chicago, this
Yeah.
part of Illinois. But it was a really bad one. They said they had to close two lanes down for it because of the incident was really bad. So,
Well, they just
yeah.
said I just saw the news here, breaking news that it was a school shooting here in South Carolina in Greenville at a middle
Mhm.
school.
Okay. Oh,
I said,
Ursula says she almost home, yeah. All right, Ursula, we got you. Yeah, but yeah, it's crazy. It's just too much going on.
mhm.
Well, you know what time it is? It's time for
It's
Ta-da!
time for celebrity gossip with the one and only Shanita J.
Hey, it's your girl Shanita J here with Celebrity Gossip. I have a few things to report to you guys today, and some things, is just going around. So, the first thing, I do want to send my condolences to the family of the 14-year-old boy who lost his life at an amusement park
Oh yeah.
where the harness apparently wasn't strapped all the way down, and the young man fell, unfortunately, to his death. He was only 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, that's a tough situation, I'm sure, for any parent, especially not being there with your child. He was on vacation with with his friend's family.
Oh wow.
In other
Wow.
news, we are going to talk about G Herbo and Ari Fletcher. I don't know if you guys know much about the rapper. He's a Chicago rapper, and he had a baby with a young lady that's an Instagram model, um, Ari Fletcher, who is now with Moneybag Yo. Um, I don't know. This is weird. They're going back and forth about their child, Yo Sean, and how, the she doesn't care for, or their son doesn't really like G Herbal's new girlfriend, Taina. It's just a whole bunch of drama. She's alleging that when he leaves and comes home back to her, that he has marks and scratches and he doesn't really
Oh.
care for the young lady, which, that's a tough situation too, because you can't choose who your partner decides to be with after your relationship fails. But in my opinion, I do feel as though she's a little bit too invested in her ex-boyfriend's life, fiance, relationship, etc. Keep it about the kids and leave it at that, but don't make extra drama if there is none. But I don't know. I don't know their situation. I really don't, know them personally, obviously. And then we're going to talk about Will Smith. They're alleging that he was asked to leave after he slapped Chris Rock on Sunday's Oscars. But Will Smith is saying, allegedly, that he was not asked to leave. I know one thing. This story is not ending anytime soon. So
Mhm.
somebody's got to get some lawyers, I'm sure, because I don't know. If that was me, I'd probably sue him. But, that's just me, especially since he didn't hit him back. I would have hit him back and then sued him. I would have got my lick back. That's just me. That's just the Taurus for me. I don't know.
Yeah, but if
Anyway,
you hit them
that's
back,
all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.
yeah, but if you hit them back, you gon' that ain't, you
Yeah.
can't sue him. How you gonna sue him if
Hmm.
you hit him back? Because you responded to what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, I wouldn't do that one. No, I would have just
Did just like
probably
Chris did, pretty much. It's just because
because he
um,
still got time to decide if he want to sue him or not.
he
Anyway,
does. He sure
yeah,
does.
you
And
know,
but the thing, he benefit from it. So he don't. I mean, like, hey, I'm like, I mean, if he want to, he would win. I would, at least I would think so. He's
yeah,
on national TV.
Yeah, well, they said that his brother was saying something about it too. He was talking about it, and they said that he said allegedly that he would that there is going to be some repercussions behind this. That's what they allegedly said.
Oh wow, because I know it's not just him and Tony Rock. He got a lot
No,
of brothers and
it was
sisters.
right. I know, but it was Tony Rock that allegedly that
Hmm.
said it. So yeah, yeah, that's yeah, that's
That's
not going away
interesting
anytime
because he
soon.
was part of the show All of Us that Will and Jada created. Tony
Oh
Rock
yeah,
was.
he sure was. He sure
Hmm.
was. I don't
Yep.
think it would have turned out so well if it had been him, though. I don't think so at all.
Yeah, he
Um,
seemed a little bit more street.
yeah, that's why I said it. I just don't think that it would have went as well if it had been him. You know, and that's my personal opinion about that. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't. Because yeah, he seemed more street, and the rest of all I say is that I just hope and pray that they get a closure to this, and
Hmm.
that there's healing
And
between
they
all
said
of
that
them.
they had mentioned that it was on Yahoo News that Chris actually they replayed a video that Chris Rock had an interview with that that oh, what's his name? Gosh, I can't remember the guy, the DJ name.
DJ Envy.
No, he's the
Oh,
white guy. He's he's pretty racy.
oh,
Oh gosh, I
oh.
can't not remember. He has black hair, and I think I cannot remember his name, but he's been out there a long time. Because there's a black lady that also was part of his show too.
Oh,
Um,
I know. I think I know who you're talking about. The one that was really he used to talk a lot of
he was,
trash on
yeah,
his
and he was
show.
kind of raunchy at times too.
Yeah. I can't think of his
He
name. He was
said
such.
that they played the video from an interview he had with Chris Rock, and Chris Rock had talked about how when he was growing up, he
He was
went to this
bully.
he was bullied, and he
Hmm.
said it even sexually assaulted,
Oh,
alleged. And so it's just he said so a lot of emotions took place when that happened to him on that stage because it was like bringing back some of the stuff that he dealt with as a child.
yeah.
And I
And
was
how
like,
many? And it's a lot of people. That's the messed up part is I think that a lot of people took it personally because there are a lot of us that's out here that have been went through bullying, and
mm-hmm,
that is a form of bullying right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you
So
mean. Shoot,
yeah.
my first year of high school wasn't the best, but I sure wasn't gonna back down from nobody.
No, I know.
It was
And
like,
I've watched it. I went through it myself as a young lady. I went through the bullying thing. Um,
mm-hmm,
then um, then I watched my children both go through it. They both went through it. Except for my son, he decided he gonna fight back. But
mm-hmm,
yeah, they both went through it and stuff, and it's nothing nice. It's nothing nice. And then to find out the different things that years later of the different thoughts that they had behind it, it hurts.
mm-hmm,
It hurts to hear it. you know it's just like when I was reading the bio on our guest for tonight, and I was reading her bio, and it's just she has a very, very powerful story. This
mm-hmm.
young lady has a very powerful story. And
Hey Danielle.
hey Danielle. Yeah, thank you. And I can't wait to bring her out. I was trying to give Ursula a minute to get in here, but um we're gonna probably have to. I'm gonna probably bring her and then if when Ursula come in, then we'll just bring Ursula on, and
Mm-hmm.
Ramon on when she come in, if they come in. But yeah, I want to bring her on. Let me make sure I pronounce this name right. You want to say the name? Because
Gordon.
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 Shana Gourdine. Okay. I want to make sure I don't pronounce her name wrong. But that's we're gonna bring on Shana Gourdine. I hope I said it right. I don't want her saying nothing when she go. But here we go. We finna bring on. She gonna correct me if it was wrong, y'all. How you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Please tell me I
How
said
you
your
doing?
name.
I'm good. The only thing you mispronounced, and it's not your fault, it's the way my mother spelled it, is my first name. It's actually Sheena. But my mom
really?
spelled it like Shayna, so it's not your fault.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. So,
People in
so
these
how?
silent letters in their
Yeah,
name.
she made the A's like E's.
Yeah, like you
uh,
made it silent.
Mhm.
Like, oh man,
so how you doing today?
I'm good. I can't complain. I say I'm here with the land of the living. Somebody didn't make it today, so I'm here.
that's
Yeah,
true. Very
you're
true.
absolutely right. So tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, a little bit about me. I'm originally from Cross, South Carolina. I reside in Troy, New York now for like the last 19 years. I have two daughters, Liana and Samira, which is my heart and soul and the reason on why I do what I do. I am an advocate for domestic violence. I'm an advocate for chronic illness. I'm an author of 3 books plus 15 collaborations. So altogether, it's 18 books. And
Oh,
just a woman of many hats.
Oh, that's
wow,
awesome.
that's
Yeah,
real good.
I was reading your bio, and I was reading the part where you was talking. I was trying to find it because I had it in my on my email, but I was trying to find what you were saying about how you went through domestic violence and you was dealing with 4 different illnesses at the same
Mhm.
time.
At the
Oh
same
my
time.
God.
Wow,
Wow.
you definitely got a testimony.
Oh yeah, we ready to hear it because I surely
Yeah,
want to hear it because I know
it's
you
like
got one.
what's the
Absolutely.
singer said? I don't look like what I've been through.
And
Um,
that's definitely what I say. Because one, I have this podcast that I do that's called Rock Bottom, where you don't look like what you've been through. And I say
mhm.
I'm perfect for it because I don't look like what I've been through. And what's crazy is that I went through domestic violence not once, not one relationship, but 2 different relationships.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
And the very first time it happened, it was about 2011. I was actually pregnant with my second kid. And I got thrown against the cabinet and I was strangled by my
Ooh.
kid's father. And in my thoughts, I wasn't thinking about me. My thoughts are saving the child that was in my stomach because I still had
Mm.
another one she wasn't at the house, but I still had to be there for her too. So,
Wow.
doing the discretion, I fought him or whatever, and I kicked him out. But, being pregnant, dealing with hormones, I'm from the South. I'm one that I want all my kids to have the father. I want the family to stay together, yada, yada. I listen to I'm sorry's.
Mhm.
Couple of months, I let him back in. I had my daughter, but lo and behold, about May, it happened again. And I was actually strangled in my living room holding my second daughter. She was about 4 months old. And me just saying a statement he didn't like, he decided that he didn't like the response. And he decided to strangle me in the middle of my living room floor while I was holding my
Mm.
4-month-old daughter.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I decided to leave the relationship because that's not what I wanted for my kids. But
Mhm.
the one thing I didn't do was heal from it. I just kind of locked it in the closet and like, all right, I dealt with it. I didn't talk about it. I didn't tell anybody about it. The only person that really knew was, me, him, and his mom, and just a couple of other people. But other than that, I didn't spoke about it. I kind of just tucked it in. And so, trying to be a single mom, taking care of the kids. And I got into a relationship about 3 years later, getting back in this relationship thinking that, hey, it's going to be better. I'm not saying, mind you, I disclosed personally that it happened to me already.
Oh
But lo and
wow.
behold, three
Yeah.
years later, the same thing happened with this person of, being in a
Mm.
relationship. And it's just like, wow. And it's crazy because on top of it, I found out that they were dealing with mental issues. They actually was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So I was trying to help in the midst of being in a relationship with a person. And instead of they accepting my help, they started abusing me because they felt that I was the reason why they were on pills or all these things were going on with them. So I was the one to blame. So I got dragged upstairs, choked in my sleep, locked in the bathroom, just
Gee.
it was a lot. And my kids had to see that. So in the midst of me
Oh,
trying to leave, I got a restraining order, called the cops, and I got stalked for about a good year.
Wow.
wow.
So in the midst of this, I'm like, okay, what now? Am I going to be fearful and hide for the rest of my life? Like what is going to happen with this? So they end up, for being that they started stalking me and I kept going back and forth to the cops, they finally got locked up. And, dealing with that process and going through this program called Unity House, I decided to move. So I moved and shift my family to another place just for a safer thing and a peaceful mind. Because it was to the point to where they were even trying to come through my window and come in my house. So it's like my life was on. Yeah, God. Like they were watching me drop my kids off. They were watching me when I was going to the meetings that I was going to. Like they was just watching me, and I just felt that my life was on the line, and the cops was playing with it more than anything, and my life was more than that. And it's like, okay, I have a piece of paper. Well, what is this paper doing if I got it? If it's not justifying anything. So me moving, they get locked up, and that was when I decided that faith over fear was more than anything. And I really got real close with my spiritual self. I got real close with just understanding why I was, attracting the people who I attracted to. I went through therapy to understand my accountability and my parts, because we had to learn not to just be a victim, but to accept the fact is that I had to forgive myself for things that I allowed in my peaceful atmosphere. And I had to forgive myself for the things that I allowed and settled for because I wasn't loving myself properly.
Right.
So just learning from the underhands of things, and that's where the book was brought out from, but in the midst of all this, to talk about the sickness. Now, mind you, from the year of 2011 to 2015, after I had my second daughter, I was experiencing pain, not understanding why I was in pain and what was going on. And I was going to multiple doctors. And they kept telling me, they was like, oh, we don't see anything. X-rays, MRIs, CAT scans. They were just kept giving me ibuprofen. They were like, oh, it's just muscular. There's nothing wrong with you. They sent me to pain management. Even to the fact of pain management, they were like, oh, we don't see anything. I did the acupunctures and all that. And they were like, maybe you need to go see a therapist. Maybe you're stressed out. I said, no, you're not going to play me crazy. I know there's something wrong with me. So as I went through this procedure, I found out first that I have polycystic kidney disease, which is basically I have mad cysts all over my body. I have it on my spleen, my liver, my ovaries, and both of my kidneys. And with that, it does lead to renal failure, but I don't think about what it's supposed to lead to. The fact is that it is at 100% working, so I don't have any issues. I don't look like what I go through. Then the next year after that, I got diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, which is arthritis in my spine that goes the rest of my joints, like rheumatoid arthritis, which is a chronic pain that I deal with 24/7. Then I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is chronic nerve pain. Wow. After that, I got diagnosed with osteoarthritis and polycystic ovarian syndrome. With all of this and then all of that on top of it, I was dealing with life. And that's where the book, I can say between the book and my kids, is what saved my life, to not feel that I had to stay stagnant or stay where I was after going through the fact of domestic violence more than once, and then also having these conditions that is compiled onto everything else that was going on. So I decided to create my first book, which is called The Mask Behind the Mask. And that book was to be able to show you that people have faces and you never know what they're going through unless you have the conversation with them. And, you would never know that I have these individual, invisible conditions unless I tell you, because I don't look like I'm sick. And everybody will say that when I have the conversation, be like, I would have never known. And so, with that, I created the book for people to understand, to just accept their imperfection and their flaws and just love who they are. Because despite of what may be happening and the cards you may be dealt, you can be a powerful voice for people that are going through things and don't know how to take steps to heal. So I, instead of taking my pain and wallowed in it, I took my pain and thrived in it. I took my pain and made it a way to heal others, to understand there is happiness after trauma. There's life after trauma.
Pain into purpose.
You can be the master of your own destiny.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got that right. You don't look like what you've been through. That's for sure. God definitely had his hand on you. Talk about grace and mercy. You are the walking billboard for it.
Amen.
That's good. And the unfortunate thing in South Carolina, actually, South Carolina is I think they're in the top 5 for domestic violence. And
I have a friend out
partners dying from their spouse or boyfriend or whatever in South Carolina, unfortunately. So it that's something that unfortunately, in most cases, is women are the ones who endure it the most. But they got men who be abused too. But
Right.
most of it is women, because the men that man have that moment, that thought, oh, if I can't have you, nobody can, you
Yeah.
know, you
Hey,
know.
Angelique.
Yeah.
And then even though they're not gonna do right by you, they still gonna do.
They
They're
just don't want
still,
nobody else to have you.
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate,
Yeah,
And
it's sad
sometimes the
though.
package don't even look like they're the abuser until you
No.
start dating them.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ashley.
It's
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm so sorry I'm late.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, but that is sad. You know what? I find guys that abuse women. I find that as they punks to me.
Yeah.
That's it. They punks because you won't fight a man. You're not gonna fight another man, but you will fight a woman. That's
right.
sad. You know.
Yeah. I
It's
heard
sad.
Tyler Perry say one time in one of his shows, and he said you got to be careful for the ones. He said if you got a guy and he's acting crazy and he fighting you and all, and you tell him you've called the police and he's staying there, he said you got a certified fool. He said because if he ain't going and he know the police coming, you got a certified fool on your hand. So it's the ones
Yeah.
that leave that you got somebody who if he had another dude he fighting with, he gonna run. But if he's standing right there and talking about, I'll wait till they get here, you got a certified fool on your hand.
I think I caught 2 certified fools. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm good. I don't want no more. So I had to heal me first before moving on, because it was like the fact is that I was allowing certain things and I had to apologize to myself for selling that. So these days and now, you listen, I pay attention to the red flags, and as soon as it look like something else, I'm like,
Danielle
Because he
Johnson
will
said,
give
now
it to
that
you.
is a way to become triumphant after the tribulation. God bless you, beautiful.
Yes.
thank you,
Amen.
Danielle.
I would
Yeah.
love to commend you for being a survivor and for standing up and a lot of people don't understand, it's not just the physical man. It's you getting courage to
Mental.
stand up to that evil, to that spirit that's attacking that person, that's trying to attack you. So I
Right.
commend you, and I'm grateful to God that you were able to get out of that situation in mind and body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it does, and sometimes abuse is not necessarily physical. A lot of
No,
times, mental
it's
is
verbal.
just as devastating as the physical.
Oh,
Mhm.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Fred,
Hey,
my
Freddie.
sis, so proud of you.
Hey,
Thank you,
Fred.
Fred.
That's right.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is so
it
true.
was definitely a task, because in the midst of it, I accumulated anxiety, because after having somebody stalk you and you pop up, somebody's popping up everywhere, it makes you feel so much anxiety and so much depression, and it made me want to close myself in. Like, I didn't want to go anywhere by myself. I used to lock my doors as soon as I got in the car. It was just like a lot of different triggers, and I was really, really jumpy, and I was like, that's not how I wanted to live my life.
No.
That's not acceptable for me, because if I decide to hide, then all this powerful voice I have will not be out here.
Right.
So I'm like, I have to make a choice. I
So,
have to leave.
so
The fact is that my fear has to conquer over my faith, and I have to be understanding that my faith is more important than the fear that I had for the situation that I was dealing with.
So do you speak around the world? Do you make it your business to do motivational speaking to other
Yes.
women? Okay.
Yes. Actually, before COVID, I was traveling. I was in Tacoma, Washington. I went to Vegas. I went to Jersey, and I went to Philly. But then,
COVID
Philly
happened.
came. So what I did was I started doing it virtually.
Okay.
So I've spoken Germany, Jamaica, London,
Wow.
around the world virtually,
Mhm.
and I actually am a part of this platform called Unapologetically Free. We do this every 3 months. We do a platform where we invite people to speak and give them a safe space to talk about the things they may be dealing with, or they, may need to express some things. So, and we have like speakers and poets and stuff like that to give people opportunity. And then on my page, I'm a big advocate for DV. So I give people the platform to be able to speak out and use their voice as well, because if we suffer in silence, we're just going to continue to hurt and continue to bleed on the people. So my goal is to help one person at a time as much as I can, to understand that you can mend yourself just like a broken crayon.
And I
It's
wanted
true.
to congratulate you on your
That's
award.
true.
I seen that
Oh,
you
thank you.
received the award too. So I wanted to
Yes,
congratulate you on that.
I just received actually 3 awards. It was the Woman on the Rise from the I Am Her International. It was the Woman Influencer of the Year, and then I got the Woman Empowerment Diva Award as well. So thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Oh,
Wow, that's great.
congratulations. Yeah,
Can
that's
I
awesome.
ask you a
So your
question?
pain made room for your purpose. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yes, you
So my
can.
question is kind of, I want to say personal, kind of, it may be a little touchy, but understand it's coming from my heart, from
Oh,
me to
you're
you, because of a place I've been before. When you were in those situations, where you were suffering with domestic violence, and in two separate relationships, right?
fine.
Okay, did you wonder sometimes, were you attracting a person who was was hurt, and they were drawn to you?
What
Did
I
you?
realized after going to therapy, because I went to therapy, what it was is I was accepting love from all the wrong places because my father wasn't in my life. So I had daddy issues. And I didn't love myself as much as I should as I do now. Because I guarantee you now nobody can sit at my table or have the access to me that I
You
would
better
not
tell
allow.
it.
If
Tell
you're
it.
messing up my peace, you got to go.
Amen.
And
That's
that's
it.
it.
And that's the number, that's the key to it. Is a lot of times we don't take the time out to find the key root to what happens, why we in this situation, why
Right.
do we allow this same thing to keep continue going on and on and on.
Exactly.
And so
Yep.
you figured it out and you
I did.
stopped it at the second person and you said, nope, I'm gonna stand up for me and I'm not gonna let this happen to me again.
Yep.
I love me more than I love anybody, and that's
Yes.
how you do it. That's exactly it.
Mhm.
That's
And
awesome.
what I did was I also started going back to the shelter, like the place that because it was this program called Unity House, and I went through counseling. I did art therapy. I did a walk group. Like I did all these things to mend and help and heal myself to empower me. And what I started doing, like once I healed from my process of my steps, which I'm still healing because it's all a process still as you continue to grow. But I started going back to the shelter because I feel that they needed somebody that went through it and understand. We had the counselor, yeah, but to have somebody that mentally, physically, and verbally went through what you went through. And I used to go there and I used to talk to them and I used to always tell them, you're going to have different experiences and it's not going to happen overnight because it's going to be a work. Because here and there, I still have these dreams. I still have triggers, but I have my toolbox that helps me when I go
Right.
through these moments, to whereas I'm not allowing the things of my past to define what I am or doing now. What I do is when it happens, I remind myself I am in a safe place and I'm doing what I need to do. And I use my affirmations and I use my scriptures and my music and all these things to inspire me. And I continue to journal because journal is a major thing for me. So I use all my tools and I take these same steps and I give the same advice to them. And, I tell them it's what I do might not be for you, but you can choose one and then help define what's going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. How do you take your situation and be a teaching tool for your daughters that you're raising or raised, because they got to be able to identify the signs of somebody who could be the same type of abuser.
Absolutely.
So how do you tell them and other young women?
Well, one with my kids, they've been to mostly all my speaking engagements. So they know the story. They know how it went. They've actually seen it. So we kind of went through a therapeutic thing together to get them back on the other side of it. But I also did a project. It was a domestic violence film, and I allowed people to come and speak and stuff like that. But I allowed my daughter, my youngest one didn't want to do it, but I allowed my oldest daughter to speak on how she felt to release what she saw so that she can feel that it's okay to be a child again. You don't have to feel that you have to protect mommy. You don't have to feel that, you have to be in the midst of this. And I give them the steps of the red flags. When I do a speaking engagement, I tell them these are the signs that you look for, and it can be other signs, but these are the top ones that I've found to be coincide with a narcissistic, or just people that's going to isolate you, and just all the different things that can happen. And in movies, I pointed out, see, this is not how you're supposed to be talked to. You're supposed to be treated like a princess. And if you're a woman, you're supposed to be treated like a queen. And I tell them, if there's something that triggers you in your gut, that intuition, understand it's real. And I also tell them, I also tell them the thing about the mask. I tell them, when somebody show you their face, believe them the first time.
Oh yeah,
you got that right.
And I tell them, I said, don't be, very non-inclusive to, the thing that you're seeing. Like, when you see somebody doing something and it don't look right and it seems a little off, believe that the same thing they doing to somebody else, they're gonna do to you too.
Yeah.
So I tell them not to be naive to a lot of things.
Yeah,
Fred said domestic violence, abuse, like all our social ills, have an origin. We have to get to the origin of why this happens and understand why men and women choose to be an abuser or abused. There's a human aspect to this that law enforcement advocates and religious leaders have yet to understand. That's very correct.
That's true.
That is.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, because the sad part, it's not just the women that go through that abuse.
Yeah,
there is men out here too.
Yeah.
But the men, the problem with the men is they don't want to come out and say that they've been abused because they're afraid of what people are gonna say. Yeah.
Right.
And it's so sad.
And the sad thing about it is and that's why I asked you that question concerning your daughters, because the thing about it is they may not have been the one that was being abused, but mentally they are abused, because they don't forget it. They remember everything that happened, and they constantly thinking, well, could I have done something to help mommy? And some children have been hurt trying to fight and protect their mom or their dad, or in a situation like that. Some even been killed because the person, once they have gotten to that point, they already on 10, and they don't care who coming.
They just hurting everybody.
They're gonna get whoever, as long as they get the person that they're trying to get, and they'll get whoever's in the way. And that's why you see so many kids. So many of them, when they're in school, some of them lash out while they're in school, and you wonder, what is wrong with this child? It's because something they sing at home.
And see, what I also did with my kids, I allow them to have open conversation with me. Whatever's going on, regardless of how they feel, whatever, I need them to just express it, because it could be something that's happening that I don't know. And I'd rather them tell me, Mom, this is what I feel right now. And I give them that open door. I said, listen, my door is always open, regardless of what it is. I need you to talk to me, because I'd rather you tell me than for you to suffer in silence. So if you're feeling scared about something because of something, let me know. And, what I also did is I allowed them to figure out what can help them through the times of what we were going through. Like, music was one of my daughter's things, and my other daughter liked to draw, so that was their outlet, and I gave them that outlet to be able to express themselves, and able to give them that push. And I unpack and empower them every day and tell them, don't ever let anybody treat you any less than what you deserve. And I told them, I said, your mama loves you, and I love you above the sun. So if anybody's treating you and loving you less than that, it's not worth it.
That's it. And that's important.
I'm sorry. Fred said we have to speak to the individual as a human being and not as a victim or a perpetrator.
That's true.
Yeah,
I was going to say this to you. What would you tell young ladies that are they're running from state to state to hide from these guys that are hurting them, and they're running from it, instead of what would you say that they could actually do to kind of help themselves?
First, sometimes you have to remove yourself from the state, because there are some guys that just not going to stop. They're not going to stop until you're dead. So I can't blame them if that's why they're running. But while they're running, I need them to find themselves in the midst of it, to where they have the strength to stand up for who they are. Don't lose yourself in the midst of running. Because while you're running, still, get your grounding of spiritual, mind, and body. Because don't lose yourself in the midst of the trouble. Because in answer to that, on the other side, there's a testimony.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
like
just have to, just
like
be able to stand strong through the storm.
Yeah.
like yours. You have a very good testimony, and that's powerful.
That remind me of that movie that Jennifer Lopez was in called
Enough.
Enough.
That's my
Yeah,
favorite
she
movie, and I
went
read the book.
through and she went through some stuff. Her daughter
Yeah,
was so exhausted of
yeah,
running, and that's why I said children are affected so in it in to in no degree because
right,
because they don't know. All they thinking is
right,
that's daddy. So they don't
right.
understand why he's doing that.
I had to
Or
have the
it's
toughest
arranged.
conversation with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because he was being toxic,
Oh
and he
wow.
was actually calling me out my name, and because I was allowing him to still see his kids without me being a third party.
Right.
I dropped them off at their grandmother's, and then they would go see him.
Mm-hmm.
But being that he was toxic, my daughters actually about 2-3 years ago asked me, why you and daddy's not together no more? And I had to explain to them because he put hands on me. And I let them know, like they cried. And I said, I didn't say anything for you to either hate him. I said, what I have with him is what I have with him. That was my dealing, and that was what happened. But that's your father, and I'm not going to ever talk anything bad, but I'm going to tell you the true reason of why I'm not with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, I said, I want you to understand that mommy had to leave for you and for me, because that wasn't mentally healthy nor okay to be in. So I'm like, I told him, I said, even if it's a verbal of somebody calling you out your name, don't ever allow it, because once you start, then they'll get comfortable.
That is very true.
Yeah.
It was like, don't even play like you're gonna hit me. Don't
Yeah,
even play like you're
right.
gonna shoot me, because I'm
Right.
gonna hit you.
Fred said, educate, empower, find safety, remain safe, and protect
And protect
yourself.
yourself.
That's true.
And I wanted to talk to what Frederick was saying about
The predator.
our religious systems and our jail systems. Here's the thing that's really critical about this whole process. We know through therapy, through education, that hurt people. We know in 2022, back when our mamas was coming up and people was getting, they knew that it was crazy, but we have more resources and more information.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, that the correctional system does not do anything to help the cycle.
Right.
And I get it that it's bad what they're doing. It's horrible what they're doing. But the reality is that the hurt person is trying to hurt as many people as he can without knowing why.
Right.
And then by them jailing him, not doing any real
Therapy.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's only making it worse.
Yeah.
Or just like, oh, I'm in pain, so let me bring more pain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
when
just
I get out, I'm gonna get her.
Right. And that's what happens. Like they sit there and be mad and just have all this evil thoughts of what they want to do when they get out to the person that.
And that happened recently in South Carolina. A guy had just got out of jail.
Wow.
And he killed the girl. Just got out of jail.
But it happens all the time. You just don't hear about it.
Right.
They don't talk about it, but it happens all the time.
Constantly.
Actually, I know somebody. We know somebody that actually went through that. The same thing, and that little piece of paper didn't mean anything to them.
It doesn't, and that's why, like, I created a safe space. Like my address is not on my mailbox. Like I eliminate my number is restricted. Why? Because just because you have a paper don't mean it's going to do anything.
No.
I send that live and direct, because the second person that I was dealing with still was calling me from the jailhouse when they was locked up.
Oh wow!
And I hear the police always say, "Well, did he do anything?" If he ain't did nothing yet, I'm like, "Well, what you got to wait for him to kill me first?" And that's what I
said as well.
Say that all the time. I'm like, "Why do you got to wait until they kill you first?"
Like it was.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Fred said law enforcement and the judicial system are out of touch. The religious system sweep it under the rug and ignore it completely.
And He's right about that. Because I remember when I remember a situation where we were talking to the police about something that happened, and they did exactly that. They was like they couldn't. It wasn't nothing they can do about it, and it was sad. It was so sad because that the person had the paper, the document, and everything, but they said they couldn't do anything about it. They was like it wasn't nothing they could do because he hadn't did anything
Yeah. And then the
that
thing
they
about it,
knew
a
of.
lot of times they feel that the woman gonna drop the charges anyway. So some
Yeah.
of them don't even want to waste time with the paper because they're saying because too many of them have done that. They wait until he call them from prison. Baby, you know I ain't gonna do that to you no more. You
Right.
know I ain't gonna do it. You need to get me out of here. You need to get me out of here. And as soon as she get him out of here, out of there, then he right back and then he end up killing him. And that's the worst thing because it was a situation here where the guy killed the girl and her kids. Only one child was left, and that was her son who was in college. And he was going to come home that weekend, and he decided not to come home. And unfortunately, his whole family was killed. His mom and all his sisters and brothers was killed.
Wow.
And it was a sad situation. They ended up having the funeral at the Coliseum because of because a whole family. I think it was like 4 children and the mom.
Wow.
Yeah, I said, this is ridiculous.
It is.
So and unfortunately, women deal with that every day.
They
every
do.
day.
And
Go ahead.
And part of that process, I'm actually trying to see where I can help at as well, because I actually created a workbook and I'm working with one of my friends that's out in South Carolina and actually trying to see if the workbook can get incorporated with the guys that are, commit the domestic violence. Because I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a program that y'all have out there that they have to go through after they get out or whatnot because of the domestic violence charge, he was telling me. And I created this workbook that I'm trying to get incorporated to where they have to, and with the workbook is basically them doing the work and they have to answer the questions and understand why they are the way they are and actually get in tune with their mess.
Right.
So that is something I am in the works in as well, trying to get into the system as well. So it's not the easiest thing to do.
And for a long time, women was not valued anyway.
Right.
For a long time, because we didn't have rights for a long time. But then not only that, they didn't value us. They just thought we was only supposed to be in the kitchen and, like they said, in the bedroom. That's all.
Yeah.
We weren't worthy of anything. But what they didn't understand is we weren't the only ones who gave life.
Right.
But we was the one who taught the children. And taught them and raised them and take care of households. So our value is a whole lot more than just those 2 items that the most of the time they used to say that women was only worth, And so it's just that sometimes when you go through something, they don't understand. Well, why you didn't just leave? It's not as easy as people think in some situations. Some women, that's all they've ever known, and that person has been taking care of them since they've been together, and that's the hardest part is when you have never worked and that person has been taking care of you. And that's what I call the control.
The financial abuse.
Daniel Johnson said faith over fear. Faith without works is dead, and works without faith is dead. Continue to let your works go forth, and also to continue to let your light keep shining, Shana.
Thank you, Danielle.
And I want to ask you, so now, like I said, you are a survivor, a beautiful survivor. So how about now, like your relationships once you started to heal? How are your relationships now? I'm sorry, there's a comment. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, it's Fred. I seen it.
There are no real safeguards in place to protect individuals, and the programs that are currently in place or available don't properly serve those individuals. Again, it speaks to the human aspect, and no one wants to speak to the human aspect.
That's true. That's very true.
My relationship is great. I actually am in a 3-year relationship right now. Healthy.
Awesome.
Good.
Very productive communication. Treat me like a queen. I'm
Awesome.
good.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay,
good.
so as time is winding down, can you tell people where they can find you?
Absolutely. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's the Lady Behind the Mask. And if you want to find me on Facebook, it's also the Lady Behind the Mask on my author page. I have a website called www.theladybehindthemask.com. And then you can also email me if you want, which is escadine16@gmail.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. And they can get your book on
You can get my
Amazon
book on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart.com, all the platforms. And also I do have an album out there called I Was Always a Rose in the Darkness of Love. It's a spoken word album as well. And that's on all streaming platforms as well.
Wow.
So yes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you said that's more like a speech.
It's spoken word.
Spoken word. Oh, okay. Cool. Sounds good. Any other questions, ladies?
And I was gonna say my baby dad, and he got a couple of spoken word albums. Malcolm Jamal Warner, you probably know him.
Oh my God.
No, but I'm gonna have to go look him up though, because I love spoken word. I don't think so.
Oh
I don't
my
think
goodness.
Cosby Show.
I know. I can't.
You don't know Theo, girl.
Yeah, I know Theo.
Okay, that's my baby daddy.
All right, girl.
Fred says, so happy and proud of you, sis.
Thank you.
She been stalking Malcolm Jamal Warner. That's what she's doing. She's stalking him. I feel so sorry for him. Oh my goodness.
And one more thing, Lord, it's okay. The one thing I did do to help elevate my kids as well in this process, I actually just made them an author. We did a children's book together. My last book was The Power in Me. They are my co-authors and the characters. Okay. So in the book, it's relating to talk about, the kids and their special power to help kids learn to dream big. So in the process, I'm teaching them how to dream big, and then I'm teaching them how to teach their associates how to dream big.
Oh, awesome.
That's really good.
That's really good.
It's really good.
I was going to ask you something. I forgot what y'all know my brain. If I don't get it out when I finish,
I understand.
It's just gone.
That's how all of us to be doing. We talk, let me go first. No, let me go first.
Y'all better start writing it down.
Yeah, we do, but still, when you talking to the guests, more questions come up because you like.
Well, look, the inbox is always open, so if there's ever some thoughts, just hit me in the inbox. I'm always willing to answer them. I'm very transparent. I've always been. Like when I started this, I also talked at colleges too. I spoke at Seton Hall University and UAlbany out here, so I'm very transparent about everything because at the end of the day, my story can heal somebody, and it's all about, the fact is that I got through it. And so wherever I can help somebody else to get through it, I'm here for it.
Danielle said, girl.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danielle.
How long have you been in New York?
I've been in New York for 19 years.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, you could hear that accent.
She got a thick accent, right?
Yeah.
How long she been there?
She was
from South Carolina.
Right.
Yeah, I'm from Crosstown. I will always rep South Carolina. I am a Carolina girl till the day I die.
It's over, girl.
You surely got that New York accent, though, baby girl.
You got that twist.
It's a little combination.
She got that.
Fred said we need to have more of these uncomfortable conversations.
Yes, we do. It's necessary.
Yeah, it's very necessary
because it's real. It's
right.
Real. Yeah. It's real talk because everybody, somebody have gone through something mentally, emotionally, sexual abuse, all kind of
spiritual abuse, all of it.
Yes, it has, and
I think one of the most positive and helpful aspects of therapy for me is when I actually started group therapy, to see that others are going through some of the same things that I'm going through. So what you're doing is helping somebody else say, oh my God.
Right.
I'm not the only one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Believe there's somebody with that thinking, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
because most people do think they alone.
Right. Like I've noticed, like when I go through this motivational speaking or, when I'm out and about and I tell the story, how many people that come to me and was like, I just went through this, or I've been through this and I didn't know anybody to talk to. And I thank you for sharing your story and you're helping me. So it, you know, like I said, it's one person at a time, or it's how many persons at a time that it can heal. I'm here for all of it because it's necessary. You know, I'd rather them heal and then be able to transfer onto the other side, because being unhappy and hurt ain't fun. I've been there, frustrated and angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of young college and high school girls going through that, and they don't know how to deal with it. They really don't. You know.
Nope. That's why I'm trying to find a way to get into the system. So that's why I started with the kids book, because now I'm going to the schools and talking to the kids. So in the midst of those conversations, I can have the other conversations.
With the other, okay, with a
Yeah,
different
you
group.
keep going. You're gonna touch a lot of people as you already are. You just keep going, and you God is gonna work it all out. You know, you'll get to do what you need to do and what you desire to do. You know, because of your motivation. And I'm really proud of you, and I'm really happy for you.
Me too, especially with you dealing with the illnesses as well as the domestic violence. And I mean that's a lot. That's a lot to deal
Get a
with. But you
strong will.
still, you still standing. And man, you really, God has really held you up.
Yes,
Amen.
he has.
Yeah,
And he's still
definitely.
helping me up.
Like
Amen.
was it Bishop Paul S. Morton? He said, "I'm still standing. You still standing." And
Yes.
that's what's important.
And you telling
Absolutely.
your story to somebody else to help somebody else out there, because it's a lot of people that's scared to come forward and talk about what they're going through. And I've seen actually some people that have ran from place to place to place to place, and I know they're tired of running because they've
Right.
said they're tired of running, but they can't, they don't know what else to do.
Right.
And so by you coming forward and telling your story, I'm sure it's helping somebody else out, and that's the good thing about it.
Yes, because I don't want them to feel exhausted, because after a while, running can be exhausted and frustration. And it feels like a ton of, weight is on you, especially if you got kids, because it's like you're not worried about just your life. You're worried about their life too. And how is it going to be? How is it affecting them? So it's like, it's a lot. And that it was a lot of mental on me as well, because between diseases, that, and then being a single mom and just all that on top of everything, all I say is grace.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Well,
you.
we want to thank you for coming on our show today. We truly enjoyed your
very
company,
inspiring.
and very inspiring. And I hope that your message helps somebody that may have been watching the show today that may be dealing with the same exact thing. I hope that your story helps them out. And if you guys are interested in her books, you can purchase it on all the platforms: Amazon, Walmart. I was going to say Walgreens.
Look, I might need to try to get it in there too.
Yeah, they carry books. So yeah, but yeah, you can try her, try all the platforms, and one of her platforms, and pick up her book, and be looking for her to come to your city.
That's right.
Because her story is very powerful, and she needs to tell it to the world, because there are a lot of people that's probably dealing with the exact same thing. So So again, thank you for coming on our show tonight, and we enjoyed your conversation. And I want to tell everyone, thank you for tuning in to Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends, and we hope that you be very successful on your journey.
Yeah.
Amen.
So
thank you.
The gift will make room for you, and it's already doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, powerful. All right, guys. So we're gonna I guess
Be blessed.
you have a good one. Okay, thank you for coming out. All right. So that will be it for our show tonight. Make sure you guys share, um, spread the word, and be watching out for this young lady, because
Yes.
she's on a mission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And God bless you on your journey.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys on Tuesday with Let's Talk About It Tuesday.
Right.
Yay!
Yes. Good night.
Good night.
Margaret, that was so fake. You say yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Should I do it that way?
Yeah, you're supposed to say,
No.
yes, darling.
Y'all are funny.
Yes, darling.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.